Okay, my next question is actually related to this big commerce cooperation you mentioned, like maybe not exactly to any particular vendor or e-commerce industry, but it's about synergies. I mean, I guess that, as Next.js, you got a lot of synergies with many different open source projects, platforms, services. What other projects you cooperate most with?
Yeah, so we work together with a bunch of other open source projects, some of which are used inside of Next.js, and some are like for research purposes or actual collaboration on Next.js itself. One example is we work together with the Google Chrome team, which have multiple people working on Next.js to improve performance for React applications.
Gotcha.
And they also work on improving bundle size, for example, improving core web vitals. So core web vitals are these new measurements basically that Google's going to use to rank different pages in their search engine. So there's basically 3 core web vitals: largest contentful paint, first contentful paint, and cumulative layout shift. So first contentful paint is really how fast users see something on the page when the page loads.
Yeah.
Largest contentful paint is when the largest element in the viewport is rendered. And then cumulative layout shift is basically, I always say it's this thing that you've all seen before, which is you load a page, you scroll down, and suddenly the whole page is shifting all the way around because images load in, images don't have sizes, and then you're reading something and suddenly the text is gone because it's shifted down to another place in the page. So they created this web vital called cumulative layout shift to measure how much shifting is happening on a page when it loads. And this can also be tracked inside of Google Chrome, so that's really useful. And it basically allows you to figure out I load this page. Now everything is shifting around in ways that you didn't intend, basically. Or at least it's not as good as it could be. So, so the core web vitals are these 3 things that are going to be used to index, pages basically, on how good their performance is. And then this is also shown in Lighthouse and other tools as well. We introduced Nexus Analytics recently, which allows you to track these core web vitals and get a reading from actual end users, and then use that to improve the scores that you had before, basically. So if you want to improve largest contentful paint, you can keep tracking it for a week or so inside Nexus Analytics, or even longer, and then you can say okay, largest contentful paint is really low. Let's try to improve that for these pages that are really critical for for example in eCommerce, if the largest contentful paint is really high, you're losing out on conversions basically because people are not going to scroll before the largest contentful paint and all that. So it really helps with improving performance. And then the Nexus Analytics can be used inside of any Nexus application, not even if you're hosting only on Vercel, for example. So that really helps there. And then in terms of collaboration, the Google Chrome team introduced multiple really massively improving user experience features over the last year. So one of them is improving bundle size. So they created a new split chunks configuration for Webpack that improves the size, the distribution of modules between different bundles in a very tremendously good way. We've been seeing reductions from 20 to 70% in JavaScript bundle size.
Oh.
And that's just because there were duplicated modules between different files, basically. That could have been split out. This is also this is not just influenced Next, but it also has influenced other frameworks that adopted the same approach. And also it's now a default in Webpack 5. So yeah, there's some really like big impact to this collaboration. And then besides that, we also work with the Webpack team. So with Tobias, the creator of Webpack, to improve like basically like React applications being built using Webpack. So we have collaboration there, and then also we work with the Babel team. We collaborate with the React team at Facebook, to ensure that like Next.js is ready for like all the new, things that they're introducing, like concurrent mode, and suspense and all that. And then like also we collaborate with a lot of Next.js users as well. So like from the other side, like we collaborate with HashiCorp, for example, which are really large Next.js users, and a bunch of other like companies that give us like really good feedback on how they use Next.js, what they'd like to see inside of the framework and all that. So like one example of this is like we talk with a lot of companies that are international, especially in Europe, where like you have multiple languages, multiple locales basically. And basically like pretty much every company from like in Europe that is like planning to go from like the country that they're in to the rest of Europe wants to do internationalization in some way. So we worked with all of these companies that reached out and basically introduced this system for internationalizing your application. So it's basically like preparing everything to be translated and all that. So we introduced this internationalized routing support that allows you to set up routing for different languages, different locales, basically. Like it's not even just languages, it's also locales. And that can now be used inside of Next.js 10 to basically start setting up internationalization in your project. So you can still use the like proven out React internationalization libraries, so React NTL or React INT Next, or like any other library that does translating of routes. And then you can use the internationalized routing to really set up the routing part of internationalization, basically.